readers and writers of the internet, welcome back. So this video is going to be YA tropes that I hate. If you guys like this, just let me know and I'll do more, maybe involving like, straight romance, straight sci-fi, that kind of stuff. This is kind of like the books that I'll never read, except involving, tropes, cliches, whatever. So let's just get into it. The first one, I'm pretty sure that you guys all saw this one coming. It is the dreaded love triangle. I absolutely hate this trope with every single fiber in my body. I cannot stand it. It's so bad. I hate it. I've only seen it done correctly in like 1 or 2 books, and that would be The Storm Crow and Where the Crawdads Sing, and that's it. In The Storm Crow, the main protagonist makes it clear that she's only interested in one guy. She doesn't toy with the other. He just happens to continue to like her. So I like that she was honest. We all know the book that I'm thinking about with the triangle that I despise the most. So yeah, but no, I don't like this trope. I hate it. I don't understand why authors do it, because it's going to divide the audience, and I guess it is a way to get readers talking about it and that kind of stuff, but I just don't like it. And I especially don't like it when there's so much miscommunication and like the main girl can't decide and she's going back and forth and like teasing them and whatnot, and as soon as one of them is like, oh, I really love you, she's like, but I love him, and then he's like, I really love you, she's like, never mind, I like him. I just hate it. I just absolutely hate it so much. It's terrible. It's so terrible. And unlike some of these tropes that I kind of list here, where maybe I maybe would fidget with them or include them in one of my books that I'm writing, this one I will never, ever write about unless it is done like with the Storm Crow and it's made clear. But this trope is just terrible. It needs to go away. I hate it so much. The Chosen One. This one is more of an annoyance rather than a deep hate. In some books, like some of the first books that kind of invented, so to speak, this trope, like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis, it kind of works there. Like they're chosen because they're the only humans, instead of just random people. It just happens to be 4 people that are humans that go into Narnia. It's not just like, oh, you're special somehow. Like, you get what I mean, hopefully. But yeah, this one, again, it can be done correctly, it can be done incorrectly. I can't really think of any instances that I've read in which it was done terribly. It's more so I've heard bad things about them, because even in There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole, the Chosen One was done relatively well. Not my favorite, but it was still done well, and it helped that it was linked to my favorite character of the book. Yeah, no, I just scanned through all my books, and I really don't see one. I try to stay away from this trope because I really just don't like it, because it makes me feel like the protagonist isn't really special, and that's the entire point that the trope is trying to do. It's like, look how special they are, but for me it does the complete opposite of that effect, because they're just some random person that just so happened to be special. It's just like, what makes them so great? Like, they don't have any skills, and yet everyone's like, you're the chosen one, you're gonna save us. I'm like, they can no, like just no. I just don't like it. I like my characters to earn everything that they have, instead of just walking into an environment and someone being like, you're the chosen one. But yeah, again, this one, I don't hate this one. It's not my favorite. I try to avoid it as much as possible though. So the protagonist doesn't recognize their beauty. This one is kind of hit or miss for me. It can be done really well and it can be done not so well. I'm okay if there is actually a reason why they haven't seen or been able to see that they're beautiful. In my book, Ashes of Revenge, my main protagonist, Raven, she was actually in a fire that burned half of her face. So she has scarring, you know, all throughout her body. So, you know, I don't really focus on that in my book, but I kind of like dip my toe in there and state, you know, she doesn't particularly like it. It's not her favorite, but at the same time, she has to accept it. It's how she's gonna look for the rest of her life. There's no point in like, you know, crying about it. It's just what it is. And that's just her. I'm not trying to speak for any burn victims or anyone out there like that. That's just Raven, a fictional character. Another instance where this would be okay is maybe if they grew up in an environment being told that they were ugly, like if they grew up in an environment with an abusive household where everyone's like, oh, you know, you're terrible looking, you're never gonna get married, and then they start to believe it maybe. I'd be okay with that, but when there's no reason and they're just like, I have brown hair and brown eyes and I'm short. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's just like, it's kind of overplayed. It's like, I'm so bland. I'm like, the vast majority of people, I think it's like 90 or 80% of people have brown eyes. And then quite a few people have brown hair. So I'm not sure where you're going with this, and I get it. It is more normal to have those characteristics or traits about you. And I do actually dye my hair, not fully, just highlights with certain colors. But it's just like... You got brown hair and brown eyes, you poor thing. You poor thing. How is everyone or anyone gonna find you beautiful, you know? The main example that I can think of is Elena in the Shadow and Bone series. Like, there was no reason for her to be like, I'm so ugly and bland and blah, blah, blah. And she literally had, like, a prince and then Mal and then the Darkling going after her. So there was a love square. I'm just like, obviously, you're not ugly. And, like, even random people, as she was just walking by, they would, like, tell her that she was pretty. Like, everyone told her that she was pretty. I'm just like, so it's clear that you're not ugly, you know? So, like, I just don't like the trope. I just don't, you know? Give me a reason why they're insecure, not just that they are insecure. Give me a reason. Adults are useless. This one isn't too bad of a trope, but it's also not my favorite. You see this a lot with YA books because they are centered towards, you know, the 13 to 19 demographic, and of course people younger and older can read them. That's just what they're kind of focused on. So the protagonist is usually 16, 17, 18, around that age, and every single parent is just a waste of space. Like, they're just like a potato sack. Like, that's as good as they're gonna get. It's not my favorite because, like, I get it, teenagers can be smart, and I get that that's what the author is going for there, and being like, no, teenagers are smart, they're witty, they can outsmart the adults and all that. But when you do it to an extent where, like, adults that have far more wisdom and, like, skills than teenagers start to, you know, get bested at every turn, then it gets a little bit annoying. I'm like, are these adults, like, useless? Like, all of them are useless? The best example I can think about this is in, what was it called? I don't know. I know the sequel is called The Program. It's called The Program. I think it's by Suzanne Young. But yeah, in that one, every single adult is useless, especially the parents. They're just like so close-minded, you know, they're terrible, they don't do anything. I'm just like, hopefully this is not how parents act. Like, this is terrible. Like, oh my gosh. Same thing with the Hunger Games, and I get it, Katniss's mom was going through depression at the loss of her husband, but she basically didn't do anything because of the depression, and made her, I believe Katniss was 12 at the time, her, like, 12-year-old daughter, like, begin to run the household. And I'm just like, I get it, like, you're sad, really sad, I understand that, and I get it, it's a hard thing to do, but, like, you still have the rest of your family to take care of. Like, why are we just sitting there, you know? And again, that's not to say anything about people who are actually depressed. I'm just talking about the characters in the book and how it was portrayed and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's not my favorite. I actually prefer it if like adult is with the teenager because, again, like I said, they have a bit more wisdom, a bit more skill, so they can like teach the teenager. They can always be, level-headed, whereas teenagers usually are run by their emotions and stuff like that. Again, not to, say anything, but in my book, Ashes of Revenge, the main trio, one of them is actually an adult. So he helps kind of guide the two teenagers, keep them, level-headed, help them think through stuff and things like that. So I actually enjoy when the adult does something in my book. The strong female protagonist. This one I don't hate, and I just want to preface this before I continue by saying that I do write all of my characters from the female perspective because that is what's easiest for me. I write in third omniscient, so I can go to anybody's mind at any time. I don't have to have a break or anything. I can just jump and jump and jump. So there are times in which I go into like a guy's mind and, stuff like that. But my main character has always been a girl because that's just simplest for me to really get a basis and understanding and stuff like that. I enjoy female protagonists. The problem with this trope is when the female protagonist is hyped up so much and then they do nothing. Like if they're like, oh, she's a strong female, she's a strong female, she's a strong female, she's a strong female. And then like they just get like beaten like at every chance. I'm just like, is she a strong female? I like my books to show and not tell. I'd rather see a girl, beat the crap out of a group of guys without any preference that she can really fight, and I get it, you do need a bit of backstory, like, oh yeah, she has, I don't know, knives everywhere, or she was, skilled in this area or whatnot, but I don't like it to be shoved down my throat. She's a strong female, she's better than any man, she can do anything a man can, but better. I'm just like, why can't they be equal? Like, why can't she do some things better, then he do some things better, and then their skills correlate? Is not everyone's going to be good at everything. So if you have that, this is just my opinion, but if you have that basis of this girl is good at everything and can beat man and man at everything, then I can't relate. I'm just like, no, like I'm not good at everything. And I don't want my characters to be good at everything. I want them to have faults. I want them to have weaknesses. I want them to have things that they struggle with and that they can't do, but other characters can do, so they have to kind of rely on them. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. But at the same time, if it's shoved down my throat that this is a strong female character, she better be able to deliver. And I get it. Like, you're not going to win every fight. You're going to get a few, bruises and whatnot. But if she's beaten every time, and again, I haven't read this book, but this is what I've heard, thrown a glass, like I've read like the first chapter and it's like, she's strong, she's smart, intelligent, blah, blah, blah. But I've heard that like a guy has to save her every time. I'm like, well, obviously she isn't that strong or that smart or that skilled if she's having to be rescued every time. And again, like, I get it. There's going to be a point in the book where that's going to need to happen. But if it's every single time on multiple occasions, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm done. I just like my characters to have some weakness to them. The bad guy is pure evil. Every single one of you know that. I like morally gray characters. I actually really love them. I even love my protagonist to be morally gray. That's why I love Kaz so much in Six Crows, because he walks the line of, bad guy. He does things that you would not expect a hero to do and says things that you would not expect a hero to do, but it's kind of preferenced as, I'm a bad person, but what he's doing is even worse, so it's okay. And that's kind of how I took it with my story, Ashes of Revenge. Sorry that I keep on mentioning this, it's just for comparison. But that's kind of how I took it. Like, they know that they're bad people. They know that they're not good. But in their minds, there's always someone else that is going to be worse than them. Now, does that mean that the bad guy has to be, evil laughter, lightning in the sky type of bad? No. Like, take, for example, the Darkling. Like, I love the Darkling because he truly believed in what he was doing. He knew it was bad, but he's like, this has to happen. Like, it was just so well done, and me explaining it doesn't even do it justice. So yeah, he was like the one character besides Nikolai that really kept me into the book because he was so morally gray. I absolutely loved it. Another example of a morally gray character is Victor in Vicious. Like, this guy is not good. This is not a good guy, but you root for him because, he's the main protagonist, essentially. So you can understand where he's coming from. Even his antagonist, Eli, you may not like him. He wasn't my favorite character, but I understood where he was coming from, why he was doing it. He wasn't just a pure bad guy. I don't like the pure bad guy just doing bad just because it's bad. I want to feel something for this bad guy. I want when they, eventually get beaten to like feel sorry for them, because they really believed in what they were doing and what they were doing was good. That's what I want to happen. I want to see the bad guy fall, but I want to hurt when he falls with him, if that makes sense, because that just makes it all the more real, This is another trope that I've kind of already mentioned, but overly good at everything. Like, I can't relate. Like, you have to have some weaknesses, please. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I've already kind of gone over it before, but, like, I don't like it when my protagonists are perfect. I really, really don't. It's annoying. It's so annoying. Like, they're the perfect little angel that can't do anything wrong. Like, no. Please, like, have a fault. Like, I don't care if you have a fault or if you can't read or write or do anything. Like, you don't have to be good at everything. Everyone has a weakness, and I like to read about that because then I can relate to the character just a bit more, even if like the weakness or doesn't relate to me personally. Like, if they, I don't know, can't read, let's say, I can read. Obviously, I'm reading a book about them not being able to read, but I can relate to them. Hopefully you guys get what I'm saying in the sense that, I like them to have weaknesses, because I have weaknesses. Everyone has weaknesses, and for them to be perfect and overly good at everything, it just doesn't do it for me, and I hate it. And there you have it. That was my take on YA tropes that I hate. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments below, or give this video a thumbs up. It really means a lot to me. Thank you as always for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And it means the world to me if you follow me on all my other social media, such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Those will be listed down in the description below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!